Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Discovery Pod with Eve. I am your host, Eve Richards. We've got an exciting show today. We've got an actor who became very famous at a young age. However, he decided to associate himself with friends, and he's found his way back. And so we want to be able to celebrate his journey, his successes. So please make sure you watch us on the Discovery Pod's YouTube channel, or you can listen to us on Google, iHeartRadio, Apple, or wherever podcast is available. You can also reach out to me on everichards.com if you've got any questions about my outfit. I am joined today by my host, Tony Blass, my co-host, Tony Blass. Tony is a marketing professional. He is incredible. He's actually worked with brands such as Porsche, Serrano, to name a few. Fun fact about Tony, he's actually associated with the TV show Dallas from the 90s. So Tony, welcome, and let us know how you got involved with Dallas, the show. That's incredible.
Well, that was a marketing issue. We were doing actually research on the show. Oh. So we were doing focus groups on all the Laura Marr shows. Of course, Dallas was the big one in the 80s. I hate to date myself like that. I was just a kid. But, I went to the Hollywood show recently, and I got to meet with some of the cast. I didn't really know the cast because they actually worked down in Culver City with the old MGM studios. Okay. But the research was done in Burbank.
Wow.
Anyway, I got to meet Linda Gray, who played the Sue Ellen.
Yes.
And so we were talking for a minute, and I said, it was just amazing to me that in all the research that I saw, she was really one of the most beloved characters. And she said she didn't know that.
Oh.
She said, they never told us that. And I said, no. She's like, well, I don't understand because the character was, like an alcoholic and so forth, for example.
Yeah.
And I said, no, that she was the heart of the show, really.
Wow.
And that people could really identify with her being the brunt of so much of the evil that was going on in that show. And specifically, that women really identified her with her. She was actually a feminist hero.
Wow, that's incredible.
On television at that time.
That's amazing. So, I was also thinking about if Tony and I actually working on a project together, and we've been rehearsing every Wednesday night for about 4 hours, believe it or not. But it's been such a fun experience. We don't know when the movie is going to shoot, but it's set in Sweden. So what exactly have you gotten out of this experience, being in an audition for 4 hours each week?
I think it's like being part of a master class in acting, really. So I've been living with this character for 2 years.
Wow.
I've learned about 85 minutes worth of dialogue. So not to be counting or anything, but I expect to be at quite a few of the scenes. But the thing about it is that he encourages us to just do whatever.
Yeah.
To just go with the moment, go with the flow. And so that's been a very exciting process as an actor. And I really feel like last night, the way he evaluated.
You mean the director, Gabriel,
right? Yes. Because he's not an acting coach, but he ends up helping us so much. And he was able to describe the different rhythms that we naturally were doing in the scene together. So,
and what I liked about that was when he talked about my performance being very Shakespearean and yours was, I thought that was great how he did the comparison, right? Something that I would not have thought about from a technical perspective.
Absolutely. No, I was, and it was so beautiful last night. I have to fall in love with Eve every single week at rehearsal, so she makes it very easy to do.
Oh, well, thank you. And you too. I try to bring my best, consummate professional. Great working with you. Great segue, everyone, into our guest. Martyn Hale, someone that I've actually worked with, and we actually had the same PR manager several years ago. Our guest is actually from Alma, Michigan. He got into acting when he was younger, and gosh, he worked, his very first acting gig was with a very prominent rapper, someone who's also from Michigan. I don't think I'm gonna name names, but if he wants, he can share. It's his story to tell. But I really his story resonated with me, and I think that it's something we all can learn from, because when you're young and you're getting into the acting industry and you're making a lot of money, you get involved with maybe the wrong crowd. You're spending a lot of money, and that's exactly what happened to him. But somehow he found his way back into the limelight. So you got to watch this episode if you know anyone who's going through any sort of, who's going through some difficulties or in the gut and need inspiration. Please let them watch this. Watch us on the Discovery Pod YouTube channel or wherever podcast is available. So without further ado, welcome, Martyn, to the Discovery Pod with Eve. It's so nice to see you.
It's good to see you too, Eve. Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a privilege to come onto your show. I really appreciate it. And I'm from Alma, Michigan, born and raised, lived there my entire life up until I graduated high school. I had a opportunity to play college baseball, and
okay. So just, if you don't mind, my host Tony has some great questions for you.
All right.
Well, I thought I came from the smallest town in Michigan. I came from Milan, Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Which is funny because later I had a partner in Italy, and he was surprised that we pronounced it Milan. But it's close to just under 10,000 people in the last census. And I think that's about what Alma was. So I'm just curious, how do you get from Alma to Hollywood?
Well, in 2010, I met a Hollywood manager. She used to be an actress. She played Aunt Leslie in Home Alone.
Wow.
And
Wow.
she reached out to me and got me an audition for the TV show Shameless at Warner Brothers.
Nice.
That starred William H. Macy. And so I flew out here for the audition. I totally bombed the audition, and I didn't say a word in the audition room. And I called her.
Was it nerves?
It was just first ever big movie audition in Hollywood, so I didn't understand what was going to happen. I just was so nervous. It was just foreign to me. Mm-hmm. And she said it takes 100 auditions to get one yes in Hollywood. You can either go back to Michigan and play college baseball or stay out here and I can get you auditions. And so I decided to stay out here, and a month later I booked a national Nike Foot Locker commercial.
Okay.
That starred
Great
Blake Griffin.
segue into my next question. So, you were associated with Cold Water, the movie,
Yes.
which came out in 2013.
Yes.
And if I recall, it was about a young guy who was in a juvenile home, correct?
Correct.
So, how did it feel being associated with a production that did so well? It was critically acclaimed movie. Looking back, what lessons did you learn? Because, we don't get those roles all the time, right? So
Right.
You were very fortunate to get that at such a young age.
Yeah, at that time I was very blessed to be given the opportunity to be part of that movie. That movie really was where my dreams of an actor came true, and I held on to it for so long after filming that movie. But during the time we filmed, I realized this is a professional movie set, and this movie is very special to me, and it will always hold a special place in my heart. All the cast, the crew, the director, the producers, we all became sort of like family. We stayed in these cabins. We had basketball tournaments on the weekend. We'd go hiking in the mountains. A few of us actors would work out together
Wow.
when we weren't filming. And
Incredible.
those guys that were in the movie Cold Water, they really helped me get back to Hollywood.
Incredible.
After I hit rock bottom in my life. And I love Cold Water, the cast and the crew, and I love those guys.
Awesome. That's incredible. That was when I read about it and watched, the movie, I was really inspired by the story. And it was 11 years ago. So you were basically quite young. I'm not going to say how old you are because you look 16 or whatever. But I was really inspired by that. So congratulations on being associated with that movie.
Thank you.
Is it tough having to deal with those pressures at such a young age?
It was at that time. Looking back, I wasn't able to, you could say, handle it because it gave me a big ego, and that ended up hurting my career at that time. And I'm grateful I went through it because I've learned from it and moved on, and I'm a brand new person now.
Incredible.
And it's only through the grace and power and mercy from God who's given me a life beyond my wildest dreams.
Oh my goodness. We worked together, and your story resonated with me. I haven't gone through that experience, but just that resilience, I think it's something that would help so many other actors or anyone in whatever industry. We all go through successes at a very young age, and you have to be surrounded by positive people in your lives. So looking back at that experience and looking at your childhood in Michigan, why did you want to become an actor? Secondly, when you came to LA, did you have any mentors? Did you have folks that you could look up to? Because it's a very difficult industry to navigate.
I chose to be an actor when I was younger because I got bullied a lot in school, and I ended up leaving school from lunch one day early, and I got on my computer and Googled how to be an actor, and an acting school popped up, and I filled out the information, and I got accepted to that school, and I went to their classes in Lansing, Michigan on the weekends during my senior year of high school, and that was when I really fell in love with acting and just character development and improv and understanding the scripts. And then I ended up getting the opportunity to move out to LA after high school, and I had good people in my life, and they wanted the best. My grandparents and my first manager and just the people that I was with. But then I started to make the wrong decisions and making mistakes, and I thought it was going to last forever, and so I took it for granted, I guess.
I'm curious because the 12-step program requires you to have a faith and a belief in a higher power. That's actually step 2, I believe. So it's literally kind of the price of walking in the door. So you mentioned God earlier, and I was curious, did you grow up religious, or did you have to learn to believe in a higher power? And if so, how did you do that?
I found power greater than myself, and I pray constantly every day, and it's something that I love to go to church and just worship God, and and I guess it's something that I found God at an early age in my life, and through getting to know Him, I was just blessed.
Incredible. When we worked together and you shared your journey, I was inspired, and you always support me on Instagram, and I support you as well. And every single day, you wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and you post a motivational quote. Where do you get all of this positive energy, the vibes. Because again, going back to some of the struggles that you've been through, it's incredible to see that you want to share your story, because I think it's going to help so many people who want to get into the industry, regardless of a person's age. But I think your story is not just about success. It's about the pitfalls of getting into a business at a young age and not having enough support. So where do you get this energy, the motivation to keep going and posting positive quotes?
I didn't have that at an early stage in my career, but I've kind of developed it as I've been getting older. Is I wake up each day and I'm grateful to be alive, because there's a lot of times people don't wake up, and to live life is a gift every day. So I want to work as hard as I can from the moment I wake up to staying disciplined and just trying to stay positive and realizing that I'm not in control of anything in my life. It's all either God-given or it's just through hard work. And that's something that I've been trying to consistently do every day, is be the hardest worker in the room and just stay disciplined and staying humble.
Wow. Gosh.
That's great.
Incredible. Gosh. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And I really hope people, this resonates with you. So great lessons from him.
Absolutely. Have you, do you deal with fear? And if so, I saw you immediately. You knew where I was going with that. The thing about recovery is, from my experience with it, was that it seems like very heavy, and there's a lot of emotional and a lot of overcoming of things. But I love the acronyms. I love the fear acronyms, because really fear, as that president said, it's the thing that we have to overcome. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I do love those acronyms for fear. Do you? So the big one is false emotions appearing real. Do you have any of the fear acronyms that you learned in recovery and that you particularly like?
Just keep coming back, and it works if you work it.
Absolutely.
Faith without works is dead.
Wow.
And just something for me is I deal with rejection a lot, and that's something that I learned to get over, let go and let God.
Yes.
But one thing I am afraid of is heights and skydiving, which my mom went skydiving a few years ago, and she asked me if I would ever go, and I said no. I'm not. I don't want to jump out of a good plane.
I wouldn't do it seriously.
But I'm just trying to learn as much as I can, being that sponge, and soak up as much knowledge each day, because I'm trying to be a better human being. And the most important thing for my life and my journey on this earth is to try to help out another person.
Wow.
Because everybody's going through hard times right now.
Oh, yes.
And the best thing I can do for myself is to help out someone else with whatever they're going through or struggling with. And I'm currently 4 years clean and sober.
Congratulations. Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
That's incredible. We have to celebrate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's probably the most successful achievement I've ever been able to accomplish, is staying sober.
Wow.
Now, you said you used the program to help you overcome rejection. I'm fascinated by that, because this is a business that has an incredible amount of rejection.
Yes.
Can you tell us anything more about how you get through not getting the part that you wanted?
Mm-hmm.
I usually go to the gym, and I found that sitting in a sauna where it's quiet can really help take my mind away from things that I can't control. and I love to go and sit in the sauna. I can sit in the sauna longer than most people can.
Yeah.
And I don't use headphones in the sauna because if you use your cell phone in the sauna, it destroys your cell phone battery, and it can put bad parts of the technology because it's so hot in the sauna.
Yeah.
And so I just go and sit in the saunas, or I try to work out. And I lost a lot of weight recently, and
Wow.
I have goals that I have to strive for every day, which is to lose more weight and just to try to, I just want to live the Mamba mentality,
Oh,
the Kobe Bryant mentality. I listen to a lot of speakers every day. I listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, Steve Harvey, David Goggins, Oprah.
Oh my gosh.
And I just try to learn from people
From the best.
From the best, yeah.
Incredible. So, obviously, in life, we need positive people in our lives to help us. Because, again, from the last question from Tony, it's a very cutthroat industry in the sense that you really have to have that strong mentality. I think one of the things you shared with me recently is quite recent. Someone that you were dating, who's an actress, recently decided to end things with you. And I know any type of rejection, especially someone that you really, really care about, can impact a person in a positive or in a negative, in a sense that, you know, we all go through struggles, and relationships can be great because we need those positive people to help us go out there. So, you know, you're such a wonderful guy. And I know there's going to be someone listening to this who would reach out to Roger, our executive producer, Roger Neal, to ask Roger for your number, because you really are. So tell us, how are you coping with this loss? I mean, I know it's hard.
I've been in communication with my close friends, my circle of brothers.
Good.
Without their help and their guidance, I don't think I would be here today, because they help hold me accountable for my actions, and I have good people in my life today, so I'm just constantly on the phone with them, communicating with them what they're doing, how can I be of service, and just hanging out with them, getting coffee, and I drink a lot of coffee, so it keeps me.
That's
keeps
good.
Me going.
That's a lot of energy.
So great. I mean, I'm so, again, just, you're my friend, and I am always supporting you from the time we met. And it's just incredible to learn about your resilience. And I know so many people are going to appreciate this. So thank you for sharing.
Eve, I didn't know you were a matchmaker too. You got a whole new thing.
You learned something new about me.
every episode, I do. So I'm that quote I was struggling to come up with is, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So I guess once you can get past that, then you can do anything. That's so true. And it's you're going to be doing a show on Fox.
Correct.
With Jerry O'Connell?
That's correct. Last year, my friend Henry Knotts and I got to audition for the game show Pictionary, and we ended up booking it, and we went on air and filmed it last year. And
congratulations.
It comes out on Fox TV April 19th of this year. And
that's wonderful.
It was a fun experience.
That's so cool. Any fun experiences that you want to share with us behind the scenes working with? I mean, he's a comedian. Jerry O'Connell is funny.
Jerry's great. He's fun to work with, and he's a good guy. I got to meet Orlando Jones
Yeah.
And he's a great actor, and so is Gabrielle Ruiz.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just grateful to be able to have an opportunity to go on Fox TV. It was 11 years. It'll be 11 years that it took me to get back on TV when it airs April 19th. So
incredible.
It's
So the thing about this is we don't know when this episode, we might watch this, like, people might listen to this 2-3 months later, but again, it doesn't really matter, because even if it airs 3 months later, people can always go back and watch that episode of you on Fox. But what I again, I'm always going to be one of your greatest supporters. You've done quite a lot, over a dozen commercials, and you've partnered with brands like Nike, which is incredible. You've done national commercials. So is there any brand that you'd want to work with, just to put it out there so the universe is listening to make it happen? Let's manifest this, right?
I've always wanted to be the Coca-Cola kid.
Ooh.
I don't drink much soda anymore, but when I do drink a soda pop, I go right for the Coca-Cola because it's like a polar bear. I remember when I was younger, I'd always see the Coca-Cola commercials during Christmas with the polar bears. And being from Michigan, it gets cold in the winter. So I fell in love with Coca-Cola, and just any opportunity that comes my way, I'll just accept it and try to do my best and be grateful for the opportunity, because they don't come every day for me. And
not just for you. I gotta tell you this. So it's for even actors who've been in the industry for a long time, even a very acclaimed A-listers. So just know that, just so you know, don't be hard on yourself.
All right.
Absolutely. So, what are you looking forward to in the future?
Wow, that's a tough question. In the future, I don't know. I guess I'm taking it one day at a time, and that's all I can do right now in my life. I have good people in my life, and I wouldn't change my life the way it is. I guess I got a good life today, and it's only because of God and the ability to not give up after being hit with the challenges of life. And I'll never give up. That's one thing that I guess I'm built for, is the ability to persevere in tough times and
the resilience. So for me specifically, family is everything, right? So I have my family in Boston, which I shared with you. My brother, I'm very close to my brother, all of my family members. And these are the folks who keep me grounded, because as you said, going through life, I think people would see me today because I've got makeup on. Only my very close friends get to see the other side of me unmasked, which we go through struggles. I could leave here and go home and I'm like, oh my gosh, I auditioned for a role and I didn't get it. And then I get disappointed. So your grandparents were very instrumental in your upbringing. Tell us about them and what they mean to you today. Secondly, what I wanted to ask is, do they understand what you actually do?
So my grandparents, I love them. And my grandpa had a lawnmower and tree planting business, and he's a retired farmer. And so I would help my grandpa mow lawns, and that was always fun because it taught me hard work.
Yeah.
And if you want to get anything in life, you have to work hard, because hard work pays. And my grandma is one of the most loving and caring human beings on this earth. And they've been together for 50 plus years.
Wow.
My grandparents have. So they've been loyal to each other, and I talk to them every day on the phone out here, being in LA, and they're in Michigan, and they're my rock. And
incredible. Yeah. So just to piggyback on that, your mom was not in your life at some point in time growing up, correct? And you have a brother.
Mm-hmm.
So can you describe your relationship with your brother and your relationship with your mom today?
My relationship with my mom is great. It's better than it was when I was younger. And my mom's a hardworking person. And
in Michigan.
She is, yes. She works at the Soaring Eagle Casino in Michigan as a blackjack dealer.
Wow.
And I have a little brother and...
An actor as well?
Well, he's not an actor, but he has the ability to where he can do it if he wants to. Anyone can do it if they want to. And my brother is a hard worker also. He's a welder. And...
That's incredible.
I've never met my dad, and so it's just part of my life that I live on. And
yeah, you know what though, you're a wonderful person even without your dad, because you have incredible grandparents, you have a brother and your mother, you know what, and you have a support system. So that's all you need.
It's true, and I have God. So
and you have
with God, all things are possible.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
That's all you can ask for. That support system. So
mm-hmm.
And a family that you've built, some blood related, some that you've chosen and found along the way.
Right.
So, family is important.
It's very, very important. That's my mantra, because life can become very challenging even when you think you've got it all. Sometimes we go through obstacles, so we need that support system, and I believe in that. So good for you. Yeah, so I'm gonna take you back to your very first acting gig, which was in your home state of Michigan. And of course, it was with someone who was very, very prominent. I don't want to spill the beans. So tell us about that experience and how you got that gig.
So I auditioned for a music video after school. I taped it and I sent it to the casting, and then I ended up booking it. And so I found out it was filming in Detroit, which is 2 hours away from where I live. So I drove down there to Detroit, and then I got to set, and I didn't know who it was with at the time until I got to set. And then I found out it was with Eminem, and we filmed it in an alley. It was for the 2010 VMA Awards, and for the song "I'm Not Afraid."
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first ever acting job. Was with probably one of the greatest rappers of all time, Eminem, Slim Shady.
Of course, and a home from Michigan. So how proud was that moment for you?
That was surreal for me, because all my friends were Eminem fans in high school. They would listen to him. I never listened to much of his music in high school, but then after working with him, I realized this guy's a real rapper. He was freestyle rapping, and and so then after we filmed that, I became a huge Eminem fan, and he's on my playlist today. And and I can relate to his music. He writes good music, and he's a good rapper.
He is, and an actor as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the Super Bowl from last year?
Yes, when I was at the Super Bowl when the Rams and Bengals played, and I was
look at you.
I got chills throughout
God.
my body when Eminem came out and performed at halftime, just because moments that we experience, sometimes they touch us in a way that it just melts my heart. So seeing him perform during the Super Bowl was pretty remarkable to see in person, and it was an amazing time.
Wow. It must have been wonderful being at the Super Bowl. Not too many people can do that, right?
Right.
And
Wow.
the Rams won, so that was cool.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
I always root for the home team.
Of course.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know, that was the home team when I first arrived here in the 70s. So it's like we've come back full circle.
I know.
Circle of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, I like the Rams because they were in a movie when I was a kid called Heaven Can Wait. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but it's about a businessman, older guy, who dreams about being a quarterback in the Rams. And it's played by, of course, Warren Beatty. Oh. And so I always thought it was great to see. We just moved to California in the 70s, and so to have a movie that was about Hollywood and about football and the Rams were a real team and everything. So I thought it was I really enjoyed that kind of fantasy aspect. How do you feel about Hollywood as a concept, as a place where you come to work, and especially now that you've gone through some stuff? What do you think about the Hollywood dream, so to speak?
The Hollywood dream is the only dream I've ever had. Mm-hmm. And once I found that it was possible for a guy like me, that's when I really fell in love with Hollywood, movie sets, California, and just the working aspect of what it takes to be an actor. Hollywood is it's a land of dreams and magic, and anyone who ever wants to be an actor, an actress, it is possible. Because it's hard to explain, but for a guy with the history that I've had of being in trouble with the law to getting an opportunity to do movies and to be on sets, it just shows me that Hollywood is a place for second chances. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter how far gone, how bad of a history of a past that you've had, you can do it. I love Hollywood.
That's great.
That is great.
It is wonderful.
I'm sorry.
It's a good segue, because when you talk about yourself, I think you've got to give yourself a lot of credit. And I don't think you do. And I really think it's time that you start celebrating your accomplishments, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not a guy like you. There are so many people in the industry who've had worse things than you, right? So you did something and you had probation, you paid for it. So you are deserving of this life, and you've worked hard. And every single day you're working hard. It is a great comeback story. We all are rooting for a comeback story. No, it's the truth. Yeah. That's Absolutely. Hollywood, right? That comeback, and that's who you are. So what's next for you then?
Right now I'm doing a theater play.
Congratulations.
And
amazing.
I'm going to be growing out a beard for that.
Wow.
For that character that I'm playing. And I've done a couple theater plays in my life, and I love to do theater. And I wrote a football movie.
Can you share the name of the play?
It's called Alkies. And I'm playing a character named Larry.
Okay.
And then I wrote a football movie that I wrote during COVID.
Wow.
It's called The Last Game. It's a high school football movie.
Nice.
And I'm trying to get funding for that. And it's something I've never done before, so I don't know which way to go. But I'm constantly getting auditions and submitting myself for auditions and just enjoying the process of getting to that next gig.
I just love the fact that you are so positive about Hollywood despite the challenges, and that you've taken full responsibility for mistakes you made rather than blaming it on Hollywood, because, we don't get the best press out here. For rightly and wrongly, who knows?
Yeah.
But it does feel like for you to retain that hope and that discipline and that drive and the belief in this industry and in what you are dreamed to do as a child and are still going to pursue with every fiber of your being. I think it's just great to help us spread the word that we're good people out here, and this is a good business, and
It is.
it's still it's one of the last American dreams, I think. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, based on the life you had in the past and the life you have now, this episode is going to be watched by thousands all over the world. Here in the States, India, wherever. And there's so many people out there who would love to move to LA, Hollywood, the land of the opportunity, to pursue acting. And a lot of people are like, but how do I get started? What advice do you have for anyone who is wherever they are? It could be here in the States, and they want to get into the industry. It's a two-part question. What advice do you have for them? And how do they get started?
To get started, first you must believe, and you have to believe in yourself, and you can't listen to critics or people who are telling you that it's not possible, because it is possible. And second, just do whatever you can to try to maybe move to LA or New York.
Excellent. Great. So we're actually at the 3-minute mark. This is the last question that we usually ask our guests. So if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Well, I would love to have dinner with Marilyn Monroe.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
Second, I would love to have dinner with Kevin Hart, because he's an entertainer and
Funny.
he's very energetic.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I would love to have dinner with Heath Ledger.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Wow. The Joker. Martyn, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm blown away by your dreams, your hopes, your resilience. And I know there are a lot of people out there who would benefit from this interview. Tony, what an incredible person he is.
Absolutely. And I have to say, even at my advanced age, to hear that faith and belief in following your dreams and how important it is.
Incredible.
That it was just a really wonderful, inspiring interview, and I will take your advice and keep dreaming.
I couldn't agree with you more. Again, Martyn, thank you so much for sharing your journey. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Discovery Pod with Eve. Again, please watch us on the Discovery Pod with Eve's YouTube channel, or you can listen to us on every Thursday on Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, or wherever podcast is available. Thanks to our executive producer, Roger Neal, for always putting together a fabulous show. Thanks for watching, and see you again next time. Bye, everyone.